Welcome back to Players Only. Now, Andrew Wiggins, he has 24 points. He's 8 for 15. He's going ham out there. And Paul George, 18 points, 6 for 12. And when you think about Paul George, his last 16 games, he's averaged, let's just call it 32, 31.8, 49% field goal shooting. 43 from threes. He is hot, but when we talk about this OKC team, their coach has been fired. The team could be in disarray, but we know one thing, the constant has to be Karl Anthony Towns. And it seems like he's coming out with a little bit of energy, doing those little things, those dirty things, K-Mac, that you love seeing big fellas do.
Yeah, they were up 10 when he was playing, and then he got in foul trouble, got his third foul. He only played 9 minutes in the first half. I like when he puts his head down and goes to the basket. I just think sometimes he'll settle. Right here, you always don't have to be in great, he's in great position up for an offensive rebound, but he works for it. He bodies the guy, gets it, puts it back up, and gets an N1. Now you're going to see a little out-of-bounds play, nice play drawn up by Ryan, but he just gets it and goes right to the rim. There's no hesitation. And I think when Karl Anthony Towns is attacking the rim, he's getting to the line and putting a lot of pressure on the defense, and that's the best version of the cat. I know all the analytics people say, oh, he's got to take more threes. Screw those threes, man. Yeah. Get that ball in the paint, and be effective. And he's really, I like the way he's playing right now, but he's got to stay on the floor.
Zeke, and on the other end, Westbrook, you look at his stats tonight, 4 turnovers, 3 for 10, 0 for 3 from the three-point line. But just for our fans out there, this year he leads the NBA in steals and assists per game. And if you remember a little while ago, he said, I can do everything, pass, shoot, dribble. What do you see that you like of his game or don't like of his game tonight?
Well, the thing that I like that I'm seeing about him is that he's not worried about, his field goal percentage, or really scoring. And even though we're going to see him taking the mid-range jumper here, which he's so efficient at doing, and also driving to the basket, once he makes the mid-range, it opens up the drive. And you like to see a player rewarded of his stature, even when he makes a mistake, right? Somebody is there to help and assist him. Westbrook sets the tone, he sets the tempo. With his energy, with his force, with his stamina every single night. So he's got 9 assists already. And when you got 9 assists and you dishing and moving the ball around, that means everybody else is eating, everybody else is feeling good, and we know he can come back and get his. So I love what he's done thus far the first half.
Let me ask you something, Zeke, because Westbrook is a heavily criticized player. MVP, people say you can't play with him. Other players may get a pass. He plays so hard every night. When you look at a guy that plays this hard, so efficient in many areas, maybe in other areas not as efficient, why do you think he gets the criticism? Is it just because of his game? Is it because of how he looks, how angry he looks? Is it because of how he attacks the basket, how fast he plays? But I'm trying to find, what really is the criticism? Because like you said, he has 4 turnovers tonight, but still has 9 assists, still leading the league, out-rebounding big fellas. What is the knock?
I think, Chris, he's at that stage where a lot of players get to, where they've had great success in the league, and then it's like, okay, now you got to win. Mm-hmm. I need to see you win it all. Okay, you're the MVP, and Harden's in the same situation. You're the MVP, you play good, you get numbers. I've seen all that. Regular season's great, so forth and so on. Now you've gotten to the point where you've separated yourself from the pack. So you're not measured with the pack anymore.
Right.
Now you start getting measured with the champions.
That's right.
Okay, can you put a ring on your finger?
Right.
And can he get to that next level of being a champion and winning the championship? And that's where the criticism comes in for he and also Harden right now.
Other players
because now it's like, okay, now you got to get there. I'm not impressed by the regular season. That don't make me excited no more. And I got to see you in the playoffs.
And the thing I like about Russell right now, he's 3 for 10, okay? His shot hasn't been going in. He stopped shooting. He defers. Like he'll let Paul get off. He kind of knows that when you shoot and your shot's kind of funky, you shoot 4 or 5 shots, you're like, I don't know if I got that tonight. Plan B. And he's the 9 assists at halftime, So I like the fact that he's deferring, and he's going to win a championship, if he does win a championship, with the right players around him and him deferring. Because there's going to be some games where it's just not going, but he's going to find other people. He's talented enough to affect the game in so many different ways. So you're right. His criticism comes from his team doesn't win enough, and he's done everything else.
That's good that you broke it down like that, because sometimes you think it's personal, and the way that you put it, it is personal, because you want to be personally regarded as one of the best with these guys, and that just means let it brush off your back and win some games and show us what you're going to do.
You got to keep moving up the ladder.
Yeah.
You can't stop right here.
Yeah.
You got to keep moving.
Yeah, and moving up the ladder. This man wants to move up the ladder. That's right. That's Mike's brother. That's right, Kyle Lowry. You know who it is. Get it, bad boys. Players only. You know, guys, you guys are champions, and I always remember when I was younger, being in certain places and playing, I remember thinking to myself, these are years that you'll never get back. We have no chance to win a championship this year in Washington. We won 14 games. These are years you never get back. What if years you're young? Him being a young leader right now, for these not to be wasted years, because it doesn't seem like he'll win a championship this year or next year, and history will judge him for that. But what would you say right now, Kevin, if you had his ear, how would you point him in the right direction, or the continued right direction, to finish with a great career regardless of the rings? Because you're never guaranteed that. Right. You're only guaranteed your work ethic. How would you talk to him about the position he's in now and how it can go either way and how he needs to make the most of this?
The NBA is a unique game, and once you kind of figure it out, there's a lot of different ways you can play to help that team win games. He's got to figure out all the different ways that he puts up numbers. That dude can put up numbers. That's over. Yeah. Zeke, we've had this conversation a million times. It's easier to put up numbers than it is go collect wins. Winning is hard in this league. There's a million different ways to do it. You get the vibe of the game going. All of a sudden, your teammates got to roll, and you find a way to get him extra 3-4 shots. Dribble handoff. You know, you bring the ball over to the hot guy. You defensively take the other team's top guy and say, you know what, I'm shutting this cat down. Mm-hmm. This guy's got it going. I can shut this guy down. All right, man, hey, we're missing a lot of shots. I'm going the offensive glass. I'm going to clean that glass up. I'm getting 5 or 6 offensive rebounds, 4 putbacks tonight. There's a million different ways to help your team win this game. He's got to figure them all out, and they all don't come up on the stat sheet. And that's what always irritates me. So many people nowadays, the analytics, what's the first thing they do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he had this, and this. Yeah. But there's winning plays all over to be made. And once you kind of understand that, I remember I was playing as a rookie, middle of the third quarter, and the vets came over and said, man, hey, look at these next 2 minutes. We put this game away. I'm like, huh? You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I don't know any better. And after the game, I went up to ML Carr, and I said, he goes, oh, they were on tilt. You could just see them. Yeah. And we're up 10. Yeah. And we outscored them these next 2-3 minutes, 8-0. We're up 18. They're just ready to give up. Yeah. And I realized when I started understanding the game, I could see teams when they were on tilt, and I got that feel for, okay, this is when we push. Yeah. 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Forget the last 2 minutes. We do it now. Yeah. Yeah. And when you get that sense of we can win this game now, and you do it, it's fun, man, because you start getting a vibe that you can control a lot of stuff that happens on the floor.
You were a leader both at Indiana and again in the NBA. When it was up on you, you come into the Pistons young, you get criticized for scoring and assists. It's a new game that's coming and everyone doesn't understand. Did you have to say to Joe later on, I need you to do this with me? And I know we can all watch this with the Bad Boys and Splash Brothers, NBA TV players only, baby. But what was your thought as a leader when you didn't know you were going to be one of the greatest of all time, when you didn't know how good a team could be to win?
I didn't know that I would end up having the NBA career that I end up having, but I knew we were going to win a championship. I mean, I knew that from day one. And not only did I know that from day one, but this is how we're going to plan and this is how we're going to do it. There's going to be a lot of studying involved. So I had to go to school, right? Had to go study the Celtics, had to go study the Lakers. And what I learned, then you come back, this is how they practice, this is what they do, this is how we got to imitate. We would get knocked out, in April. These guys were playing till May and June. No, we're not going home. We got practice tomorrow at 11. Chuck, everybody else can go home, but the players, we're going to continue to practice. We're going to continue to get better.
Get used to this time frame.
You got to get used to the time frame, and then you got to work on getting back. But there's an intensity and there's a passion, and then there's hey, you can't leave. I know you got plans with your girlfriend or with your wife, but Joe, you can't leave. I need you to stay here, right? And Joe would make the sacrifice. He would stay. Lambeer was always, I got to leave for a couple of weeks, but I'm coming back. And then, as you know, Chris, when y'all got back in the fall, right, we would come down there and be playing with y'all. So,
Yeah,
so when the
some of these, they say.
Fab Five when y'all started playing in Ann Arbor, right? Our whole team, we would come down there, scrimmage, practice, and play against y'all. So that's the type of commitment. So it wasn't about me getting better; it was about our team. And I knew our team one day was going to win the championship, and you had to stay committed to that.
I could sit here and listen for hours, Zeke. You know, I already love it. Hey, you already kicked game with Steph, and it's appreciated to listen to you guys talk about this. But when we come back, speaking of Steph, we're going to get some more game from Steph. Splash Brothers, that's right. They talk to the bad boys. Steph, you know he's already in the top 5 of threes all time.
Man, shoot it!
The big news around the NBA over the last 24 hours has been the firing of Wolves president and head coach Tom Thibodeau. The Wolves are under 500 and 2 games back of the 8th seed in the Western Conference. Interim head coach Ryan Saunders addressed the media earlier today.
Definitely didn't expect to be standing here. You know, I'll first off say how much I respect Coach Tibbs and Coach Andy Greer as well. You know, it's tough when you spend so much time with people, you know, on the road or just in general, and then you see you're not going to see those people as much anymore. That's a tough thing. So I'm thankful for the opportunity, though, and moving forward, I'm looking forward to seeing you know, progress on the court and helping grow this team.
Tuesday on NBA TV, it's players only, baby, as Dennis Scott would say. We've got a doubleheader starting with the Wolves and Thunder at 8 Eastern, followed by the Knicks and Warriors at 10:30. Your coverage starts right here at 7:30 with the Auto Trader pregame show. So to help me break down the first of that doubleheader, the czar, Mike Fratello, joins me to talk Timberwolves halfway through this adversity-laden season, we'll call it. What's a realistic expectation for this young team?
This was a team who was just starting to find its way, 5-3 in their last 8 games. One of their 2 young stars has been playing out of his mind lately, and that's Karl Anthony Towns. The last game, both young guys, Wiggins and Towns, go for 28 points apiece. When you look at their roster, it's kind of an interesting blend. You have 7 players with 5 years or less experience. Then at the other end of the spectrum, you have 4 players with 9 and 10 years of experience. But let's face it, obviously their future is Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins. They've played exactly the same number of home and away games. They have 21 home left, 21 away left, as they take this 19-21 record. And yeah, they're not in the playoffs as it was tonight, but they're only 2 games out of the 8th spot. So Ryan coming in, taking gold for Tibbs, he's got a tough assignment here because now you've got to get these guys to buy in. And without knowing how much involvement he's had with these young guys, I would think he's had a lot of time with them in development, that type of thing. They know he's a basketball guy. He's done their scouting reports and preparation for them for a couple of years now. I would think that they would give him a lot of respect. He's got Ed Pinckney, Malik Allen alongside of him to help him out, and that's their job, to help this young man out. He's got an interesting challenge in front of him.
Well, you mentioned if the playoffs were to start today, they would be on the outside looking in. But because of the parity in the Western Conference through the first 40 games this season, is a playoff push realistic?
I think it's realistic, but obviously the key is health, injuries. Can they go through the second part of the season without any seriously long stretches of key guys being out? Get Covington involved, get Saric involved with this team since the trade took place. If Towns keeps playing like he's playing, that's a huge plus for a young guy coming in when you got a guy who's averaging over 28 points a game for the last 8 games.
Well, you mentioned the split right down the middle with home games and away games, and the next 8 games actually look exactly like that as well. They're split at home and on the road, starting with tomorrow night's matchup at OKC, before they then return to Minnesota to host the Mavericks and the Pelicans this weekend, a couple of teams that are also vying for playoff position.
If I was a head coach stepping in, okay, an interim coach, I would have picked a little bit different opponent than Oklahoma City for my first game to break in.
Yeah.
But welcome to the NBA.
Yeah, surprise, yeah. Welcome. All right, well, I'm going to head over to the other side of the court, and we're going to talk a little bit about, well, the flip side of this matchup, the Oklahoma City Thunder, with our Hall of Fame head coach, Kevin McHale. Coach, when you look at what's made the Thunder successful thus far this season, we talk, of course, a lot about the statistical performances that Russell Westbrook has put up in an MVP caliber season. But Let's talk about Paul George and their defensive prowess.
Yeah, I like Paul George. Paul George is really playing well right now. He's at the level where everybody even defers to him. Even Russell Westbrook, when Paul gets going, they give him the ball and let him create shots for himself. And at late in games, they're giving the ball to Paul to finish out games for him. So I like him. But what I really like about OKC is their defense. There's a couple things that they do. They lead the league in deflections, so they're long and they get out in the passing lanes, and you're seeing right now Paul George knock down shots. And their ability to defend, though, is what got me excited. They get their hands on lots of balls, whether it be deflections, block shots, and it turns the points really quickly. They have Steven Adams in the middle that can really control the paint, and he's going to bump and bruise you as you see these guys get steals galore. And big Steven Adams holds down the paint. And then they can switch a lot of stuff. I like the teams that can switch. They not only switch, they switch to deny. So as picks come down, they get up and they deny the passes. That's why they have so many deflections. So I'm more excited about their defense this year than of anything else. I haven't really bought into OKC the last couple of years. They're just impossible for me to like. They play so well, then they play so bad at times. They're just up and down. But their defense right now has got me believing that they could really make a playoff run. You can beat people in this league with defense if you're dedicated and doing it. Now, I know it's an offensive league, but you can go out there, and they have the type of athletes that can get out, deny, and play really good defense on the perimeter.
Well, you're exactly right. We've spent the last couple of seasons, and especially last season, talking about when the Thunder were going to find their way. It was a team that was inconsistent to have so much talent on its roster. Do you see anything apart from its defensive consistency as the reason why they could be contenders this season in the West?
Yeah, I think that they can bring in and play Schroeder alongside of Westbrook, and I think that just gives them a unique ability. Westbrook can come off picks, get off the ball. Schroeder can handle the ball. He can get his own offense, but he can also distribute. And I just think less is more. I think, Carmelo there, everybody was trying to figure out how to play with each other. Carmelo leaves that, opens up more opportunity for Paul George. And as I said when we started this segment, they believe in Paul George. They give him the ball late. They let him close games. Westbrook is deferring to him. And Russell Westbrook doesn't defer to many people, and he's deferring to him. And again, I just think that less is more for this team. But I believe in them, as I said earlier. I believe in them because of their defense. I like the way they D up.
Well, you just said it. Russ may not defer to many people, but he has become more of an offensive facilitator when you look at his numbers this season as opposed to the last couple. What has impressed you most about his play?
Well, he hasn't been shooting the ball well this year. But that's the thing I like, is you can control the game. I always said you're really not a basketball player if the only way you can control the game is by scoring. Then you know what you are? You're a scorer.
Right.
If you're a basketball player, you can control the game and score 10, 12 points. I mean, assist, rebound, defend, do all of these things. And, Westbrook's a basketball player. And that's why I really like the guy. So he's not shooting the ball well. He hasn't been in great rhythm. He started off with knee surgery, missing training camp and all that stuff. But I like the fact that he's kind of coming out, testing the water a little bit on some shots. And if he's not hitting it, he's just playing the game. There's many, many ways to win a basketball game. It's not all about, can I get 35 points? And Westbrook can affect the game defensively, offensively, rebounding, a lot of different ways. He's such a unique, powerful guard in this league, like the likes we haven't seen. He's unique, and I like the way he's playing on the defensive end particularly.
Well, come with me.
Okay.
Center court.